Hello everyone, and welcome to the Roderic Deane Show. This show is all about providing one antidote for hope at a time. We're coming to you from Dallas, and we're thrilled to have you listen today. Our listenership has been growing steadily, and for that I thank you. Keep getting the word out. When we think that everyone surely has to know what we know, we end up with election results like last year. The call-in number is 310-982-4283. If your friends missed the live broadcast, they can listen in at Blog Talk Radio or download the podcast from iTunes. Better yet, go to rodericdeane.com and listen from there. On the website, you have other interesting commentary and videos that will further expand your perspective. In case you haven't heard, Senate Budget Committee Chairman Patty Murray, Democrat from Washington, released the Senate budget plan last Tuesday, claiming it cuts the deficit by almost $2 trillion. According to an article appearing in the Atlanta Business Chronicle on Thursday, that budget plan is markedly different from the one announced yesterday by House Budget Committee Chairman Paul Ryan, Republican from Wisconsin. Instead of cutting $4.6 trillion in federal spending over the next 10 years, the Senate plan would reduce deficits by only $1.85 trillion, half from spending cuts and half from increased tax revenue gained by eliminating various tax breaks. Unlike Ryan's plan, the proposal outlined by Senate Budget Committee Chairman Patty Murray would not balance the budget by 2023. Instead, it merely aims to reduce the deficits and keep their size below 3% of the nation's gross domestic product. Now, Murray also called for more federal spending in the short term, a $100 billion economic stimulus plan that would put workers back to the job, repairing our nation's highest priority, deteriorating infrastructure, and fixing crumbling schools, and installing critical education technology like broadband that our students need to succeed. Here's what you have to understand. The Democrats' budget actually increases spending over the next 10 years. The Ryan plan reduces spending and balances the budget in 10 years. The Democrats are all insane. They are so driven by ideology. They can't even consider the fact that their budget plan just accelerates our plunge over the cliff. To hear Barack Obama explain it, we don't have an immediate crisis in debt, President Obama said in an exclusive interview with George Stephanopoulos for Good Morning America. He went on to say, in fact, for the next 10 years, it's going to be in a sustainable place. How on earth can he believe that? If there's no effort to rein in spending or reform our entitlement programs, how in the hell can it be sustainable? The Congressional Budget Office itself says it's not sustainable. What's that old definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again while expecting different results. Isn't that exactly what defines progressives? Look, folks. There's a reason why progressives want to rewrite history. They don't want you to know what a failure Marxist socialist thinking is because they always think that they're smarter than the last bunch and will finally get it right. There's also a reason that progressives don't like religion. They don't want you to have blind faith in God. They prefer you not believe in God, so instead you have blind faith in government, which they will control. To a progressive, religion is, or government is their religion, and they're absolute zealots about it. I remember back when I was in college and had enrolled in a philosophy class over one summer. At one point, the lit professor tried to get a divinity student to provide physical evidence to the existence of God. The student told that female professor that he didn't have any physical evidence. The professor then asked the divinity student how then could he possibly believe in the existence of God? Faith, replied the student. Now, this argument went back and forth between that lib professor and the divinity student over several ensuing classes. I finally dropped the class, realizing that the lib professor was an absolute idiot. I wasn't going to waste one more minute of my time watching her try to get a divinity student to question his faith. I decided to hell with philosophy. Now tell me, isn't that exactly what Obama and the Democrats are telling us? Aren't they telling us that we just need to have blind faith in them to make things work? Why do you think they're so against conservative Christian belief and values? It's because those beliefs and values are based on the knowledge that man is imperfect and incapable of being godlike and ruling other people. Many of the truly great leaders of our country were only able to be so because of a sense of humility and a trust in their fellow man, born out of a belief in God. Do any of those traits appear anywhere within the Democrat Party leadership anymore? It sure doesn't look like it to me. Do you honestly believe that professed Catholics like Democrats Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, and Andrew Cuomo allow their religious beliefs to inform their political beliefs? It sure doesn't look that way to me. The newly elected Pope is now being branded as staunchly orthodox on the issues of abortion, contraception, and same-sex marriage. In other words, he's a man of his beliefs. As Rush Limbaugh said earlier this week, by definition, the Pope is orthodox. Why would anybody expect otherwise? It's because they don't want you to view orthodox Christian views as mainstream or legitimate. They want to marginalize that kind of thinking because it runs counter to their agenda. And the Bible is filled with parables and stories about the importance of self-reliance when coupled with a belief in God. When I was young, my mother used to tell me, God helps those who help themselves. Unfortunately, that is not the message that progressives want you to hear. It diminishes their ability to control you and maintain their power. The Democrats' belief in big government would be better described as a religious belief, because they sure have forsaken any Christian beliefs in furthering their agenda. Don't ever think that they're in it for you. To them, it's all about power and control over you, the unwashed masses. Their agenda can truly only lead to complete ruin. Will you only then turn your eyes back to God? And that's my 2 cents worth for the week.